my name is Megan. In this video, I will be using Blender to show you how to transform your utility line shapefile into an FBX, which is a 3D model that you can use in the Provision AR app. Before you start this video, you will need to have a shapefile and install the GIS add-on for Blender. The link for the add-on is below. It's fairly simple to install. To begin, once you have the GIS add-on, it'll show up right here on your screen. Click GIS, import, shapefile. Navigate to where you have your data, import shape, elevation, switch to none, and web Mercator is default. Select OK. If at any point you don't know what I've clicked, look down here. I've got the screencast for my numbers. I click 7 on the number pad for orthographic view.
Something we need to keep in mind while working on our projects is the units that it was created in and the units we want it in. So Blender defaults to meters and we want it in meters, but this project was created in feet. So to rectify this, we need to make sure everything is selected. Select A, make sure we're in object mode, and then select N. That will open up this properties tab over here. We want to be on item, and you can see our scale is at 1 and we need to decrease it so it will adjust for the feet. So I looked up the conversion, and now that it is decreased in size and is the size scale we want it, I'm going to hit Control A and scale. That will apply the scale, and we are at all 1 now.
Alright, so I am fairly new to Blender, but I have figured out this process and would like to share it with you guys. So, a few things just to set up. Select N while you're in the viewport, go down to your View tab, and we're going to decrease this clip start value so that we can zoom it in further. Hit N, and we're going to need to move into edit mode, so select A, and then tab, or you can change this drop down up here. With everything selected, select M, and we're going to merge by a distance. Your merge distance is down here. Feel free to change it. I'm going to leave it. I've run this through a few times and I know that works. And then we need to edit some of our vertices, because when you zoom in, you can see that not all of our manholes have vertices connecting them. So we're going to zoom in super far and then select the point. Make sure you select the vertice that's attached to the line and not the manhole. You can kind of see those lines connected, highlight. And then you are going to hit E to extrude. Notice how you can move it anywhere. We want to come out straight from that. And so you could follow the grid lines, or you can select X and narrow it down a little more specific. Right there. Do it again from the bottom, extrude, this time hitting Y so we can go straight up, put it right next to each other. And then I do want to merge those again, and I'm going to merge these two at the center. Now, when we hit Control L, you zoom out, you can see what all is connected to those vertices. And that is the segment that we will be working with today. All right, in between takes, I went ahead and just cleaned up the rest of these and connected them in the manholes. So now we have the entire segment selected, and with just that segment selected, I'm going to hit P and see, this is the separate, so I'm going to separate by selection. So now I've got that line separated. And you're going to have to do this with each of the different utility lines. So come on over and you can do it to the water and the storm and every single line. We can rename our new mesh over here. So I know it's a storm layer. I'm just going to name it storm. And with it still selected, you're going to have to tab back into object mode. Right click, convert, have to make sure you have it selected. Sometimes it looks selected, but it's not. Right click, convert to curve. And now you can see this symbol changed and it is a curve. Now we need to give our curve some depth and assign it a material type. So with the curve still selected, come over to this data tab and expand the geometry drop down. Just change the depth to the appropriate size. I'm going to do 0.25. That is going to be in meters. So if you want it to be accurate, find the correct conversion. And then the resolution, I am going to do 12. That is about the highest we recommend going. You can also fill the caps if you would like, and that would be the end of the tube. You can see how this is tubular now. It's been given some depth instead of being a skinny line. And so at the end, they'll just look hollow, but you can fill those in. And then come over to the material tab and select new. We're going to name it Storm. And you can assign a color. The app gives it its own colors. This is just for us. And material view. This step is slightly optional. As you can see, I have finished separating all of the different utility types. I converted them to curves, gave the material and depth. A good thing that will help you reference where your project is when you are using the app is if you zoom in, you can create manhole covers. So I'm just going to show you how to do that real quick. There are several different ways. This is just the way I'm going to show you. If you select vertice, then select them all, click F, it will add a face. And then if you click E to extrude, and I want to limit it to the Y-axis, so I'm going to select Y and just drag it down a little bit. Manhole covers are pretty thin, so you can kind of see some depth there. And then just click, and there you've created a manhole.
Now it is time to move our utilities underground. So I'm going to start by selecting Storm here, selecting one on my number pad. This gives us this other view. And then there's multiple ways to do this. If you have this open, you can click this and just do the Z number value, -2. It is meters, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, I'm going to select water now. You can hit G to move it around, and then if you want to constrict it to the Z axis, hold Z and pull it down. And you can see that Z value change up in the corner. I'm going to put it right about there. And then lastly, we have our sanitary layer. I am going to just have it at -1.5. And the manholes will stay right on top since they are at ground level. Now, one of our final steps is going to be to merge the model into one. So right now you can tell that all of these layers are still curves. Just select each one, or you can hit A, right click, convert, and convert it back to a mesh. The little triangle symbol means mesh, and with all of those selected, you can hit Control J, joining them all into one. Up here in our layers, you can see sanitary. If you expand this a little bit, there's sanitary, storm, and water. Now, sometimes this does this and it adds the 0.001 to the material type. Just come through and edit those because we do not want any sort of extension. We just want the name of the material. And there you have it. Your model is all connected. This is one of our very last steps and one of the most important. We are going to need to move the model to this world origin, and we're going to have to move that orange point to our point of reference that we're going to specify with a latitude and longitude for our app to place the model in the correct place. So to do this, I'm going to select everything, tab into edit mode. I'm going to zoom in. It's going to be right underneath this manhole. I want to select, one of these little points. Right click, snap vertices, and I want cursor to selected. So that is my cursor. Then I'm going to tab out back into object mode, right click, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. And then I can zoom out by clicking 7 on the number pad. And you can now see that the location of our world origin is here. So we're just I'm gonna click 0, 0, 0, 0. And it's okay that the 3D cursor stays there, but as I zoom out and zoom back into the world origin, you can see that that sanitary lateral and that point moved to the world origin. And if you want, you can snap your cursor to world origin again. Our last step here is going to be to export the model. So just select everything, go up to File, Export, and we're going to export it as an FBX. There's a few different settings over here. Make sure you select Object. I want -y forward. That automatically changes up to Z up. We want to unclick this Use Space Transform, instead click Apply Transform. This will make sure it is in the proper orientation. If your model is not in the proper orientation, these would be the settings that you need to play around with. The Y forward and the up. Make sure it's selected. Select where you want it to go. Give it a name, and then you can export your FBX. Thanks for watching our tutorial on how to create an FBX model from a shapefile. To upload your model into a project in your account, click the link below. For an instructional video on how to do this, watch the next recommended video. Thanks again!